This is He Knows His Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. All right, I want to talk about Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. I normally don't dibber and dabber in boxing, the sweet science. But I figure, as a boxing connoisseur, someone who's been watching boxing for a long period of time, I figure let me give a little take on this and to talk about it because there's some disturbing stuff that I've been hearing over this weekend that I figure, you know what? Let me see, because some of these, popular channels, people are flooding the comments saying stuff like, Terrence Crawford, because he beat Jeff Horn, all of a sudden now, he's the number one welterweight in the world. Things of the matter of saying, oh now, EJ, don't want smoke, and EJ, if you want to know who I'm talking about, Errol Spence Jr., to my opinion, who is the true number one welterweight in the division, and I'm going to explain in a little bit why that is. He don't want smoke. Oh, he doesn't have the same skills that a Terrence Crawford of the world has. I don't want to hear that, man. Now listen, Terrence Crawford is a great champion within his right. I'm going to first put it out there. I got no problems with Terrence Crawford. There is no hatred in my bone for Terrence Crawford. If anything, I love Terrence Crawford because he comes from that pedigree of what I like in athletes. He has that dog in him. I got to give that man his credit. He has that dog, that pure animal in him. He does it in a very humble and a quiet fashion, which is extremely unique, because I'm used to guys doing it in a braggadocious way. But he has a dog in him that I appreciate and that I like. Secondly, this man was the undisputed 140-pound division, champion. So I'm not going to sit here and take anything away from him from that regard. This man has done his thing. This is something in terms of undisputed that hasn't happened since B-Hop. And if you guys don't know who B-Hop is, that's Bernard Hopkins. It's something that since Bernard Hopkins has done. So that within itself, hats off. And then hats off again for being undisputed, and hats off for being the true dog that you are. But the reality is this: he just stepped up into the 147-pound division. We all knew Jeff Horn was a joke. That win against Pacquiao, I mean, that's just boxing politics at the highest level. I don't think there's any sport that's more political in terms of manufacturing and rigging wins, higher than boxing itself. You guys all know this. True boxing connoisseurs and true boxing fans that understand the sweet science understands how this works. When you're dealing with the politics and all of these nuances with boxing, these types of things happen. Clearly, Pacquiao's an older boxer. He's over the hill. He doesn't bring in the same cachet or the same popularity that he brings in anymore. So, it was easy to rob him over a Jeff Horn type of situation. But we all knew Jeff Horn was holding that belt, as a lame duck. We knew he wasn't really the true WBO champion. So when Terrence Crawford beat him, he was supposed to do that. When Terrence Crawford demolished him and TK'd him and made the man quit, he was supposed to do that. Because when I look at Jeff Horn, yeah, I see a rugged fighter. I see a guy, that has physicality, that got some weight and size to him. But Terrence Crawford is too slick, man. He's too good of a boxer. He's just too good with the ones and twos. The guy understands how to set his punches accurately, place them accurately. The guy knows how to pivot, move his foot. He's just an extremely slick and talented boxer slash puncher. So you got to give, your hats off again to Terrence Crawford for doing what he was supposed to do. But it's the obvious. It was supposed to happen. I'm sorry, man. So I'm not too impressed by that. But Errol Spence, on the other end, let's stop the presses, people. Let's stop trying to put Terrence Crawford over Errol Spence. With me saying that Terrence Crawford was undisputed, key point. Understand the key word in what I said. Undisputed at what weight division? 140 pounds. This is 147. This is 7 more pounds. This is the big boys. Errol Spence, this man walks around close to 180, if not probably at max 185 pounds when he's not fighting. This is a big dude. People want to say he's a weight bully. No, he's not a weight bully. And I'm gonna kill and I'm gonna destroy that misnomer. This man makes weight. He makes 147 pounds. You got to give him credit. To go down all the way that he does and to do it in the fashion that he does, hats off to him. He gets credit in my book for doing that. Errol Spence, at this point, if Terrence Crawford Because I saw Bo Mack come out and say, and Bo Mack, if you guys want to know who that is, that's Terrence Crawford trainer. He's the one that's always running his mouth. You know, the trainer that's always making it seem like, Terrence Crawford can take all comers. And I appreciate him doing that because you know what? I like people that are like that. But I'm going to tell you, Bo Mack, and I'm going to tell you, Terrence Crawford, y'all not ready for Errol Spence. Y'all need at least 3 or 4 more fights in the welterweight division. I want to see Terrence Crawford really settle his body into the 147 before he gets into the ring with the likes of an Errol Spence. Because if he gets into the ring with Errol Spence right now, Errol Spence will hurt that boy badly. He will demolish him. I've said it and I'm going to say it again. And I know people are going to flood these comments and they're going to make it seem like I don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm telling you this. Errol Spence is too big, too strong at this point for Terrence Crawford. He is the truth. Errol Spence has been in the 147 division for a while. And when I say a while, a number of years. He's proven himself against welterweights. The last beating at Lamont Peterson, this ain't no chopped liver here. This ain't no dude that's just whatever. Lamont Peterson has fought some of the best fighters in that division and some of the best fighters in previous divisions. Lamont Peterson has proven himself, to be a true champion in the past. And Errol Spence demolished him like he was nothing, man. He made him quit. And Lamont Peterson tried to put on all that extra weight. We all knew that wasn't gonna. I'm telling you, man, Errol Spence is the body snatcher, man. When this dude start hitting at your body, it's a wrap. That's why I was laughing when people was like, oh, Keith Thurman's gonna beat Errol Spence. There's no way. Keith Thurman couldn't even handle, that body shot that he got, in that last fight against Collazo. If he couldn't handle that, how's he gonna handle body shots against Errol Spence? Errol Spence is a body snatcher, man. This dude rips your body apart. I mean, he makes you have to go to the hospital afterwards, and he makes you have to get tested internally. Literally, I think after guys fight Errol Spence, they piss blood. That's how powerful this guy is. So if I'm Terrence Crawford, I don't want no parts of this guy. Not right now. To me, if I was to make a super fight like that and I was in quote unquote the boxing politics, I would push that fight to 2020, man. That's my honest opinion. I think Terrence Crawford would be ready by then. Mind you, Errol Spence probably would move up because, it'd probably be hard for him to make 147. But I would push that fight to 2020 because then it would give Terrence Crawford at least 4 or 5 fights under his belt, for him to settle into the 147 division. And then he'll be ready by then. And then that you can make a super fight, a mega fight between the two of them. But to just rush him, just to crown him the #1 welterweight because he beat Jeff Horn, is he a champion? Yes. Is he a 3-time weight division champion? Yes. He gets credit for that. 135, 140, 147. I mean, you gotta give hats off to that. But he has, in my opinion, the weakest belt. The WBO belt in the welterweight division has been the weakest belt in that division. It is not the strongest belt. The strongest belt is the one that Keith Thurman was holding on to, the WBC, which ended up getting stripped, but that's his fault for allowing that to get stripped. And the WBA belts along with the IBF. To me, those are the higher level belts. That's the way that I rank it. And he needs to get through those guys. And before I see a Terrence Crawford versus a Errol Spence or Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford, I want to see Keith Thurman against either one of those guys first. Because I feel like there's unfinished business between Keith Thurman and Errol Spence. Those two guys need to go at it first before we can talk about a super fight. Because I feel like if you have Errol Spence fight against Keith Thurman, then the winner of that fight can build up the suspense and the drama of an Errol Spence versus a Terrence Crawford. That fight would become a true superstar fight, and it would push the fans to want to watch a fight like that of that magnitude. That's my opinion, and that's the way that I see it, and that's the way it's going to be. Terrence Crawford, like I said, he's a dog, but don't get it twisted. Errol Spence is every bit as much of a dog as Terrence Crawford is, if not more. And he's been in the division longer. So stop the presses and trying to say that this man is a #1 welterweight in the division. And Andre Ward, as much respect as I got for him, because I got all the respect in the world for this man, you know better than to sit here and be a prisoner of the moment. That's the problem with this generation, man. People are prisoners of the moment. They see a win in their face at that moment, and then they get there and they say, "Oh well, this guy's the best." No, that's not how it works, man. It doesn't work like that, because you have to look at the body of work and you have to look at the totality of competition that the person has faced in front of them. When you see those things, then you won't ever be a prisoner of the moment. In my opinion, Errol Spence is the boogeyman of the welterweight division. He is the one that no one wants to mess with. He is the Thanos. He's the one that has all of the infinity stones. And if I was anybody, I'd watch out. The question is Terrence Crawford that Stormbreaker Thor? Can he put that Stormbreaker through Thanos? That is the $1,000,000 question. Matter of fact, that's the $1,000,000,000 question. But again, would I want to see it now? No, because it'd be no competition. Would I want to see it in 2019? No, because I still think he wouldn't be ready. I'd say I'd push it for a May 2020 date. That would be the perfect time and enough time to build up that super fight between Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford. This is He Knows His Sport, checking out.